putting out fires. We still do have some active fires going on, but certainly the rain has been assisting in that effort, and we're thankful to the big guy up above for that rain. That's for sure. And I'm glad to report some positive news to you, and that is that we have rescued 3 people that were trapped due to the fire, and all 3 people have been cleared medically and released. So that is some good positive news for a change, and we're thankful also for that. You will hear an update on a number of structures in the city of Gaitlinburg, but I can give you an update on the numbers just in Sevier County. I just recently met with our sheriff, Sheriff Seals, our highway superintendent, Superintendent Smelser, and our director of schools, who you will hear from in just a few moments, Dr. Parton, about the situation in the county, and we are updating our numbers from 150 structures either damaged or destroyed in the county to we think it's going to be in excess of 400 now structures in Sevier County, and we will keep you updated on that situation as it develops, and as we continue to get into some of these areas that we haven't been able to access because of debris, because of lines down and other issues, but we're continuing to move in those areas in the county, and in the city officials are moving into those areas as well. And let me emphasize something that we've talked about. We're crossing jurisdictional lines here like have never been crossed before. We're no longer cities and counties. We're one entity, and so we're working together, and we don't have any lines. So when we say city and county, I say that for references, not because we feel like our city and county, because they're not. We're one unit working together to try to address this disaster. So that is a positive note as well that we think, and I want to thank all of before I go on, certainly want to thank all of the officials in Sevier County, both cities, all the cities and county officials for that spirit, because sometimes you don't see that across the areas in this nation, but I can assure you that's happening here on every level. And I can assure you that it not just extends to the city and county, it extends to the state and federal government as well, because the Park Service is, I can't tell you how vital they are in this, in our efforts, and how important they are and how cooperative they've been. It's very important to us, and we thank all of those officials. Now to some distressing news. We have recovered 3 more bodies. We are now up to a total of 7 that we have recovered. We are still working on identifying those 7. We want to notify the families as soon as possible, but as you might understand, and I hope you know you will, this is a long process that we're involved in, and we're going to certainly let you know when that information is ready to release, but we do not want to release it until they have been positively identified, until we have been able to notify the families of that identification. And certainly I can say at this time that all of us are praying for those families and are very distressed at the loss of life in this situation, and we continue our efforts to move into these areas and recover, and we have zones created across the county that we're moving into, and in a very as rapidly as we can, and moving forward on that. But we have found 3 more bodies. So I also want to tell you that we are in the process of working with the state and we'll probably, or we'll be addressing this in the morning at our 11 o'clock. We will be having another briefing at 11 o'clock in the morning here, and we will be addressing that, but we're trying to, and working with the state, set up a couple of programs. One where we have a central location that folks who have whose businesses that they worked at were damaged or destroyed, or can go and apply for unemployment benefits immediately, that they don't have to, they can go to one point here in the county, and we will allow them, and we're going to try to speed up that process so that these folks will be able to get that unemployment compensation as quickly as possible, because we're very much aware that that is something that is absolutely vital to folks as we move forward, is they continue to have that financial assistance. The other thing is we are working with the Commerce and Insurance Department, and I talked with the Commissioner of Insurance, Commerce and Insurance for the state of Tennessee yesterday, and we're going to have a focal point for insurance companies to be, so where folks whose businesses and homes were destroyed or damaged by the fire can go to one focal point and meet with the insurance, and there will be adjusters there, and the insurance companies will be there to work with them so we can expedite the process for them getting started rebuilding, so that we will have a place for that tomorrow and be able to announce that to you, and we'll be very thankful you will be able to get the word out to the general public on that issue. So the next thing we have is we have some information about what we're setting up to try to locate any missing individuals that we have out there, and I'm going to recognize Leslie Earhart with the TBI, and she's going to explain to you that process that we've set up for folks to call in. Leslie?
Good afternoon. As most of you already know, TBI has established a hotline in an effort to coordinate reports of missing persons in the affected areas. But we want to clarify who should call that hotline. If you have a family member, loved one, or neighbor that you typically talk to on a regular basis but have not been able to locate as a result of the fires, we ask that you call 1-800-TBI-FIND to report that person missing. Now be prepared to share as much information about that individual as possible. Information we gather during this process will be shared with the appropriate authorities to follow up. So just to clarify, we want people who typically talk to family members, loved ones, neighbors on a regular basis but have not been able to locate them as a result of the fires to utilize this hotline. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. Appreciate that update, and that's a very important aspect of what we're trying to do, is focus in now on any reports we have of missing individuals, and focus in particularly on the areas, if we can get the where those individuals were last known to be present, and that'll allow us to be able to zone in on where these folks might be, and look at our lists as far as those sheltered and other things to help people locate their loved ones, which obviously is a priority for us as well. Next, I want to recognize our Director of Schools, Dr. Jack Parton, who's going to give you an update about what's going on with the school system in Sevier County, and in particularly with the schools here in the Gaitlinburg area, Gaitlinburg Pittman High School and Pi Beta Phi Elementary School. Dr. Parton.
Thank you, Mayor Waters. Tomorrow morning, all schools will be open in Sevier County, with the exception of Pi Beta Phi Elementary School, as well as Gaitlinburg Pittman High School. We will have grief counselors at Gaitlinburg Pittman High School beginning tomorrow about 12 o'clock, and that will be for students, faculty, staff, parents, friends in the community that would like to come by and talk to a counselor. We will be there for those folks. Friday morning, all schools again will be open, with the exception of Pi Beta Phi. Gaitlinburg Pittman tentatively we are planning to be open here at the facility Friday morning as well. Again, we will have grief counselors at all of our schools tomorrow and Friday as well. Faculties of Pi Beta Phi and Gaitlinburg Pittman will meet at Gaitlinburg Pittman High School tomorrow morning, and we will be meeting ourselves with grief counselors so that we get our faculty staff ready to go for the next day. Any questions? We'll be forthcoming.
Thank you. Next, we have Michelle Hankies with the Red Cross, who will update us on our shelter and what's going on donations and so forth.
Sheltering, we've been fortunate to combine the two shelters that we had open in Pigeon Forge. LeConte has been closed. The residents that were remaining there have been combined with the residents at the community center. We're very fortunate in the generosity of several hotels to help with some of our clients for the next couple of days. For donations, I want to reiterate that the generosity of East Tennessee, of the country, has been amazing, and just, I don't have enough words, which, if you know me, that's very unique. However, because of that generosity, we are kind of clogged in our places where we get these donations. It's not that donations aren't useful, but in-kind donations, clothing, water, things like that, take up space, and it has pretty much taken up all of our space here in Sevier County. So working with partners in Sevier County that are standing behind me and other agencies, we really are trying to get a centralized location for in-kind donations to be dropped off, and also a centralized phone number so that anyone who wants to make a donation that wants information about in-kind donations, wants information about how to give to the Red Cross or to the community fund or to volunteer, can call one central number. That number has not been checked out yet. We want to make sure it really is open before it's active. That number we pushed out on social media when it's ready. Again, if this is going to be a marathon and not a sprint. So while people are very generous, you don't need to bring everything right now. We're going to need help for some time. So hold on to those in-kind donations, keep them where they are, and then when we have information of where to bring them, we will share that. So thank you.
Okay, I think Dr. Parton has a couple more words he'd like to say about the schools.
Yes. Concerning transportation for our students tomorrow, buses will be running on a regular basis, but they'll be going only where that our bus drivers really feel safe to go. Within this disaster, there are many issues out there as far as for the safety of the children. Pertaining to Pi Beta Phi Elementary School, we are coming up with a contingency plan for the elementary school. I do want to say that there were some rumors out there that Pi Beta Phi had actually burned to the ground. That is not true. There is minor damage at Pi Beta Phi school. There's smoke damage, and so we will be getting in there just as soon as we get the green light on that as well. Thank you.
Okay, next I'd like to recognize Superintendent Cash for a report from the park.
Good afternoon. Like the mayor, I'm very, as much as well, appreciative of the rainfall that we've been receiving here throughout today. It has definitely dampened the fire behavior for a short while that has allowed enabled our firefighters to begin to firmly establishing some containment lines for the fire, which has been estimated at 15,736 acres. Due to the exceptional drought, and I had a conversation earlier today with a reporter, this drought has been very much long and extended. So just because it may look wet or dry on the surface, it can still harbor fire threats. It can still be warm under that duct because it's very thick. So it is important on us to be very cautious still about our behaviors toward fire. With the lack of internet and cell service, we have been challenged to share information with the public. In order to help you with that, we have established a Facebook page for the incident called Chimney to Fire. We will post information there as it becomes available. We continue to appreciate the valiant efforts of all our partners and the community pulling together during this very critical time. Thank you.
Okay, now we'll ask Fire Chief Miller if you'd come up and update us on the situation in Gaitlinburg.
Thank you, Mayor Waters. I hope to be able to walk up to this podium for this 4 p.m. press conference and tell you that all of our firefighting efforts were accomplished. However, about 10 minutes before this press conference, we rolled out on another structure fire on the Wiley Oakley area of Ski Mountain. So we have crews up there actively working that. We've spent a lot of our time today clearing roadways, as I discussed this morning, clearing mudslides, getting power lines and trees and other debris moved out of the way to get us into some of those areas. We have been able to get into more areas today. And in addition to the numbers that Mayor Waters shared, as far as the city of Gaitlinburg area, our numbers are going, as of right now, are 300 plus damaged or destroyed structures as well for the city of Gaitlinburg. So as we've said all day, and again yesterday, we're still working. This is going to be a process that takes time, and then we're still being pulled away from doing certain things by firefighting efforts. So that's the update from the fire department for now.
Thank you, Chief. Next, I'll recognize Gaitlinburg Mayor Werner.
I just have a continuing message that Gaitlinburg is very strong, very resilient. The people around here are amazing. We received a check this morning for $100,000 from a company out of Pigeon Forge. And that just shows the collaboration and the love in this area. Another foundation locally pledged another $100,000. And what we're going to do is figure out a criteria of like, how can we use this money best? You know, there's some people that don't have insurance, some people don't have resources, and that criteria will be set up, and there will be a way to get these people that really needed the money. But the message to the rest of the country is like, we're going to be okay, we're going to be back, we're going to be back stronger than ever. And if you really love Gaitlinburg, put that down on your date in the future to come and visit us and experience the Great Smoky Mountains and experience this beauty in this area. It's a tragic time for so many people, but I'm just thrilled and so impressed with the collaboration of everybody around here working together to make the best of this horrible situation. So the continued message is we're going to be okay, we're going to be all right, and Gaitlinburg's going to be back stronger than ever. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor Werner. And we have City Manager Cindy Ogle, who's going to update us on some of the continuing aspects in the city of Gaitlinburg of this tragedy.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to talk about a couple of the advisories, or one advisory that we did yesterday, and one related to the curfew. The curfew will continue this evening, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. As to the water boil advisory, that is still in effect. However, it is not in effect for the eastern portion of town. So basically from the post office on Highway 321 to the eastern city limits, it is not in effect any longer. I want to make a couple of other comments as it relates to particularly our city personnel. We have lots of other departments that are represented in this effort. Those departments would be our utilities department, our street department, our sanitation department, our parks and grounds department, and they're playing a very important role in this whole effort as well. Obviously the street department, as it relates to aiding in all of the cleanup efforts to get our roadways open and allow the public to access our wonderful town again. So I did want to comment particularly about some of those city departments that I don't think that we've given any credit to, and I want them to receive their due credit. Obviously, we continue to be totally amazed at the cooperation and the collaboration that we have going on with our local city officials. Arlene Teester, city manager in Pigeon Forge, came here to personally visit with us yesterday, and just showing again the great cooperation within the county, with the state, with the national park, with the federal government, and I can't express enough how important that is to the city and to the recovery that we're going to make. And as Mayor Warner said, and we said yesterday, we're going to survive this. We're going to come out of it better, and that's where we're headed, and we continue to work toward that. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. Now we will open it up for any questions.
Those numbers, is that the 400 and 300 of those the same?
They are not the same number. There are different numbers. If you put them together, there would be a total in the city and the county of in excess of 700 structures. That's correct.
Mr. Mayor, you said that you have not gotten back into some areas because of the debris and the downlines. Lots of people have asked us, and I know that they've asked you, residents as well as business owners, what is your best estimate as to when they may be able to go back into the fire zone?
That is a difficult question, Don, and we're going to address that tomorrow. We expect tomorrow to have a specific date that we'll be able to tell you at the 11 o'clock press conference tomorrow. We're still assessing the damage and trying to get all of our folks that are out there to come in and tell us exactly what they've been able to get into and assess. But we'll have that for you tomorrow at 11, so that our citizens, we want them to know when they can get back in as quickly as everyone does, and we're going to have that. We're going to have that date and time tomorrow at 11 o'clock.
Can you talk about where you made those additional recoveries?
The additional 3 recoveries that we talked about, Chief Brackens and Sheriff, you want to? Y'all want to address that? The areas?
Yeah,
The
were
area
those
of
in
the last
same
3
areas
that we-
or together, or?
The last 3 were together at the same residence, 3 on Campbell Lead Road.
I'm sorry, what road?
Campbell Lead.
And how about the people who are missing that have been found? Do you know who they are?
Those 3, I don't have names on those 3. I'm sorry, I do not.
We don't have those names
We
yet.
don't have. One
I
was
just walked back in the door.
yeah,
I don't
well,
have them yet.
One was on Ski Mountain, I believe.
One was on Ski Mountain
And-
Road, and
and-
the other
and
one was on.
The other 2 was at Westgate in the elevator, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the other 2 was at Westgate, and one was on Ski Mountain, but we don't have the specific
Right,
names.
no, we
Were they
Did
trusted?
you say one was in an elevator?
About the man and his 2 daughters and his wife, have we heard anything about them?
The Reeds.
Yeah, we do not have specific information on that. Though we're still trying to identify and look into those situations, and this TBI issue is going to be very important to be able, when we get the line set up, for those folks to call in, because that's going to give us better information about who is missing and how we can determine to help locate those people. So we don't have that specific information.
How many people are missing? How many have been reported?
Well, we don't have that information. We'll have that tomorrow. We can give them an update tomorrow. We can't give them a total, but we'll be able to give you an update tomorrow on that. But we don't have that. We don't have an estimate, no.
Any new shelter numbers?
Whoa, let me.
Is FEMA coming in to help?
We have been in contact with Congressman Rowe, Senator Alexander, and Senator Corker, and my understanding that Senator Corker and Alexander will be here in the morning for the press conference, and we do have our federal representatives working to get FEMA involved here. Yeah, but they're working on that.
Disaster relief?
Yes.
For the 3 rescued, are they adults, children, men, women? For the 3 that were rescued?
I'm not for sure. The 3 rescued they were adults.
They were adults, yeah.
Yeah, all 3 of them were adults.
Any new shelter numbers?
Yeah.
We do our shelter count at midnight. During the day, many people come to the shelter for services like mental health services and feeding, etc. So that number gets blown up. So tomorrow we can give you an updated number.
Does anyone know if
Whoa, let's go.
The reduction in shelter use from 2,000 down to 300, were most of those people vacationing, have now gone home, or?
That is an excellent question. Again, the generosity of local hotel owners has been amazing. We've been able to take a lot of the families and a lot of the at-risk folk and get them into a hotel room for at least the next couple of days, which lowers our shelter numbers. Now, in a couple of days, they may increase. Don't know. We'll see what happens, but that is part of why the lower increase.
Do you expect more of these kinds of fires, these widespread fires in the future, considering climate change?
We do not expect more. This is and I'm hoping here, but this is a once in a lifetime event. I've never seen anything. I mean, it was a perfect storm, and for everything to happen, it had to happen with the exact timing that it did for this to happen. Everything had to be in place, and unfortunately, it was in place. And I've been in Sevier County 63 years, born and raised here, and I've never seen anything even close to this in this county. Never, and I don't expect to see it again.
When do you expect families to go visit their properties or be able to?
We'll have that in the morning at 11. We're working as hard as we can. We know families are frustrated because they can't get back in and visit their properties, their homes, and their businesses. We understand that, and we're going to move as quickly as possible to get them back into these areas. We know that that's important for them to get back in and at least look at the damages that's happened to their businesses and homes. So we'll have that tomorrow at 11.
Does anyone know if Dr. Taylor has been found? He's an 80-year-old, 80-some-odd years old on Woodland Drive.
I do know Dr. Taylor, but I don't know the specifics on that. I do not know the situation, but we'll update that.
How far up the mountain have your search and rescue crews been able to make? Maybe a percentage still left?
Yeah, that's either one of you. Or both.
We've been all the way to the ski lodge, and we've been down certain roads. Some roads are clear, some are not, that we've been around, and they're still continuing that effort. As far as how far up, that's just that main road up. We still have all the side roads to go.
Do we have a percentage left that you would say, just a rough idea of how much until you've been to every cabin, every house?
Like how long?
The percentage that you've been to so far.
I'd say we've been to 30% or less so far.
Do we have any idea on the amount of individuals injured? I know we've got a death total. Do we have an injury total?
I believe I got that injury total from the number of people that have been to LeConte. Rick Valentine, our EMS. 53. Now, many of those have been released. Many of those has been released, but that's the number that we have that we're seeing at our local facility, LeConte Medical Center, as of just a little while ago, is 53.
Do we know how many active fires you still have at this point? I know earlier you said some sparked overnight.
One current.
Just one?
One currently.
And that's the structure fire?
That's the structural wall, yeah.
Yes.
Question for Chief Miller. I think you said earlier today that there were several firefighters that lost their homes or they didn't ask for
Chief.
time off. Do you know about how many first responders you've had that have lost their property and they're still out there working?
To be honest with you, we do not know the total number. I have heard that this employee, that employee, this police officer, this paramedic, this firefighter, but to be honest with you, that has not come from them because they've been out there working. And that's just a testament to the dedication of these responders to serve this community, that they've put their own personal needs aside to take care of everybody else. We have a crew. I assigned an individual today with that task only that came in and said, hey, do you have anything that I can do? And I said, yes. Let's start looking at this. So,
to what degree can you say that the fires are under control?
The question was, and I don't know who wants to what degree are the fires under control?
It's kind of a two-sided question because, as Superintendent Cash alluded to, we've got the fire in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park that has already consumed 15,700 acres. And, you know, did you speak to a status on?
No, I'm going to get that briefing in the morning from the ICT.
So it's still in the process. All of the other fires inside the city of Gaitlinburg currently have been contained, with the exception of the one that came in right before this briefing. Now, I say that with caution because we have all seen how fires rekindle. And whatever rain we got, the structures may dry out and they could start back. But we have crews that are monitoring those. They're going back in those areas, they're driving through, and they're checking and looking for hot spots.
Can you go back to the rescues? I heard you say an elevator. How did you know who these people were? How did you get to them? How did you know they were trapped? Did you just find them by accident? What were the circumstances?
I don't know the familiar, but maybe the chief does.
The elevator rescue came in late yesterday, and it was at a property on the north end of town. And during the process of trying to evacuate, and they get in the elevator, and then when the power and everything went down, they were stuck in that elevator. But then they were able to alert some people, and I believe we got notification via 911 through a cell phone that they were in the elevator, and we got crews down there and that doing elevator rescue and got them out and transported to the appropriate facility.
In Ski Mountain? That was a different one? It was a separate rescue?
Yeah, that was a separate rescue, yes.
What was the circumstances?
I believe that person was in their home, was trapped in their home.
The elevator, what facility were they in?
Westgate Resort off the Spur.
So we heard that at the height of the fire, a baby was born. Can anybody speak to that?
I haven't heard that, so we can't confirm or deny that.
So does anyone know about, can I speak to the historic structures like Bud Ogle's Cabin, Mountain Hot Lodge?
I think Superintendent Cash spoke to that yesterday, maybe.
Yeah, we didn't. We had a chance to get a better assessment of the structures. We actually had a flyover yesterday, and we were able to confirm that LeConte Lodge was not damaged, Elkmont was not damaged, and Bud Ogle Cabin was not damaged as well. So we were lucky.
Superintendent, those 15,000 acres that you spoke of the fire, what part of the park has that now spread to? It started in the chimneys, but where is that fire now?
Well, it spread, when it started from the chimneys, it came southwest, and that's where it led into coming into Gaitlinburg. And as we talked about yesterday, we had a lot of spotting activity, which led to fires in other areas, such as Weirs Vallis.
Superintendent, can you give an update on the cause? You were saying yesterday could be human cause, or sorry, this morning.
Yeah, it's likely to be human caused. We have at least 4 agents assigned to investigate this, and so I haven't had a chance to get briefed on their progress on seeing where they are with it.
Back to the business owners, what's your message to them? I know a lot were trying to come past that checkpoint to check on their businesses. Should they be doing that? Should they be staying at home? What's your message to them?
Our message is that tomorrow at 11 o'clock we're going to have specific information about folks getting back into businesses and homes, and we're going to determine that by tomorrow, and be patient for just a little bit longer, and we're going to address that. We're working hard because we know the frustration.
And last question, the 3 deaths, do you know if those were men, women, children?
I think they were adults is all I can tell you. That's all we know. They were adults.
Is the curfew still in effect tonight?
Yes. Ms. Ogle addressed that earlier. There is. Let me close again and say thank you all for providing this information. We appreciate this is the main way, other than social media, that we're able to communicate with folks not only in Sevier County, but folks that are interested across this nation. We thank you for being here. I'll close, as I always do, by saying we covet the prayers of everyone in not just the state, but the whole nation. And we ask them to continue praying for us. And I'll reiterate what Mayor Werner said. This is a strong county, and we're going to recover from this. We have people that are very strong. They have great character.